Welcome back to the Box Brothers podcast. He is Nick Perez, I'm Ben Perez, and we are going to be previewing the Belgium Grand Prix. Nick, we've had a couple weeks off for the pre-summer break is what I've been calling it. We have the summer break coming after Spa, which is, I think, just a little bit odd with the scheduling this year, but we are here to break down all of the teams, the ones that are rising up, the ones that are falling. Might have to shake a little dust off of our microphones and our F1 knowledge, but we're excited to come to you today to talk about the Spa GP. And then, like always, we will be doing our little competition, top 10 driver, a teammate battle, and a top 3 with our actually locks of the week as well. So Nick, without further ado, let's get into it and let's just preview the Belgian Grand Prix. And do you just want to start with McLaren or talk about the break?
Yeah, I mean, I guess picking McLaren's a good place to start because actually, funnily enough, I did watch a video of Oscar breaking down the track, and it was a very funny video to watch because he just kind of seemed like not awkward in front of the camera, but he just was kind of there in front of the camera, like, yep. So this is a track. It's definitely a track. There's some cool parts about it, but he didn't get too technical in it. So it was just kind of funny to watch him drive around Spa. I mean, it's one of the longest tracks on.
Real quick, did Oscar seem a little bit happier after taking a few weeks off to decompress after, what was it? Where were they last? It's been so long, I've forgotten. They were Silverstone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did he seem recovered from his Silverstone second place?
I mean, he just kind of seemed like, he was like, yep, so this is the track. I don't really like the pit exit, but it's definitely one. If you mess up this corner, you're going to feel it. So he was just kind of monotone. It was funny because a lot of his PR stuff and media stuff, he doesn't smile that much throughout it all. So it's just very interesting to see him just be a person.
Yeah, not the most charismatic driver on the grid. Because I know in the break I saw Max trying to guess tracks just based off of the sound. And as soon as they went through a Rouge, he was like, oh, Spa, 100%.
Yeah, there's people that can do that and Max gets it even faster. Because I've seen them do like the Braille tracks before, so they have like an outline of it, and they have to guess the track. Max does it by like 3 corners in. It's honestly crazy the amount of memory they have for all of these places.
Yeah, I mean, when you do it for your living, I hope that you can remember it. So, Nick, where do you think that Oscar ends up this week? They are bringing a couple upgrades. I think that they have a new floor coming in, and I think it might just be the nail in the dagger, but like always, upgrades are only changes until they actually make the car go a little bit faster.
Yeah, and I think that McLaren's going to be on the top step of the podium again. Either one of them will be there. I just feel like their car is too dominant to stop, especially at this track, which has basically every single type of corner you could ask for. Lots of elevation change, and throughout it all, I feel like McLaren just is going to bring the best car.
Yeah, so do you have it Oscar Lando 1-2?
I don't have it 1-2, but I have them both on the podium.
All right, fair enough. The only thing that could potentially throw a wrench into that gear is the rain, because I know around Spa there's a lot of rain. A couple of years have been rained out because it was too dangerous, but we are expected a spotty weekend. I think rain is Friday and then off Saturday and then wet for Sunday, or it could be the other way around, that it's dry Friday, wet Saturday, and then dry Sunday. One of those two. But rain is predicted for the weather. So McLaren's the top dog. That's the only thing that I could see potentially evening out the field.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to segue it into Red Bull, but how do you think Max Verstappen plays his cards this weekend after his horrible setup for the rainy weather of Silverstone?
Yeah, I think Max has a bounce back weekend. He has shown historically he's very good around Spa. He's very good in the wet. So even if the Red Bull car is a midfield car without him in the driver's seat, I think that Max does perform well this weekend. So I'm not too worried about it. He's shown a lot of qualifying pace. I think he has the second most poles on the grid this year. So at least on Saturday, wet or dry, I would have Max at the top. And if he can get if he can get onto the front row 1 or 2 and eliminate a lot of the risk of Kimi Antonelli just taking too much speed into the first corner, I think he is in a prime position to score well. Now, Yuki, on the other hand, I am less excited about his prospects. I know that there's been a lot of talks on whether he is even going to be at Red Bull next year. The dominoes have not yet fallen since Max has essentially not personally admitted, but the rumors about Max going to Mercedes have heightened. So I think a lot depends on Max whether Yuki does stay at Red Bull or not, but I don't see a good weekend out of Yuki. I don't know if he comes into the points. He has improved a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to show around Spa.
But also the Red Bull car is just such a pain in the butt to drive. I mean, it really
Absolutely.
does not favor anybody on the grid, and especially with how good the Racing Bulls performances have been. Does it make you think that Yuki wishing he never got pulled up?
I don't know. He is now reunited with Lauren Mekies. Lauren Mekies is now at the helm. So he's not going to have the Red Bull car, but like with his old team principal at the helm where he did show a lot, like he did show performance in that Racing Bull, he could have a little bit more comfort compared to having Horner just breathing down Yuki's neck. So I think in that sense, not having Horner down Yuki's neck will be a benefit to Yuki's confidence around Spa this weekend.
And I mean, the real question is does Ferrari have it in them this weekend? Do you think they're able to get themselves a seat at the table?
I don't know if Ferrari is going to be up there. I think that they have a chance. They've been doing a lot of testing in this pre-summer break. I know they had 2 filming days out in Mugello that they were able to improve and show an increase in performance based off of their new rear suspension that they've input. But I don't think that they're going to be competing for pole position this week. They might sneak onto the podium, but I don't think that they are going to be challenging McLaren. What about you? What are your thoughts on Ferrari this weekend? Because they seem like they're the only team that is still upgrading on 2025, which I also find ridiculous.
So if you want to know a very interesting fact, can you name me the 2 drivers that have finished in the points in every single race this year?
I believe one is Lewis Hamilton, and
Yes.
The other would be, I'm down between Oscar and George Russell. So I'm trying to think if George has had a DNF yet.
George Russell has not had a DNF. Or no, yeah, he has not had a DNF.
He has not had a DNF. Oscar hasn't had a DNF either, has he?
Mm-mm.
So I'm going to go, give me Oscar, Lewis and Oscar.
Lewis and Oscar is the correct answer.
What, Monaco.
George came in 12th and 18th in Monaco.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
It was not a good weekend for them. But no, the reason why I say that is because everybody has been hating on Lewis Hamilton, us included. We've been very negative towards Lewis Hamilton, but he has been.
When have I been negative to Lewis?
Sorry, I've been negative to Lewis. Anyways.
Yeah, Lewis is my boy. Gotta back my Merc boy.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to have to back Merck now too, because
Max is going.
Good old Max Verstappen heads over there. But Lewis has definitely had his time cut out for him in the Ferrari so far, but he is still the only person to score points in every race for Ferrari.
That's what 7-time world championship will do.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you don't see them competing with McLaren this week?
No, I really don't. I don't see them doing well. I just see it. I see a podium of Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and Oscar Piastri.
I mean, that is the safe pick out of those things. And I guess segueing to Mercedes, you don't see Mercedes getting into the fight because George did win here last year before he was DQ'd.
I mean, the British man's always going to be there. I feel like Kimi's going to beat him this weekend.
Oh, bold prediction. I don't know how good Kimi is going to be. I'm actually a little worried because I do have him on my fantasy team. He has been on a bit of a slide, has had a rough couple weeks, but hopefully he'll be able to bring it back together and at least come home within the points. Like, I'm not talking about a top 3 finish, but just like a nice 7-6, I think would be a good weekend. Just a nice recovery drive from Kimi. So with that, Nick, we're starting to get into the midfield, and it's really bunched up since the beginning of the year. So let's just rapid fire these people. But actually, my first question to you, and this will determine the team that we talk about. Who do you think out of the midfield teams are most likely to get a 8th, 9th place finish this week?
I really think it's especially
Sauber.
after them putting it on the podium last weekend with Hulkenberg. And I know Gabby's DNF was kind of untimely, but still overall their car has really come along and been able to do some really, really good stuff this later half of the season.
So do you think it's going to be a double podium finish or like a 8th finish?
I think it may end up being like an 8th, 11th type of race for them, just because there is a lot of inconsistencies between them both. But I do have a strong feeling that they're going to be able to at least put something out there for product.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the 2 teams that I was deciding between were Williams and Aston Martin. So 5 in the constructors standings right now and 8th in the constructors standings. And the reason why I say that is mainly because of the rain. I want experienced drivers out on the wet, especially with how long and fast Spa can get. It's so easy for a driver to just make a quick little mistake. We even saw it in Australia during the first race of the year when Isaac Hajar went out during the formation lap. So with the chance of rain, I don't want a rookie around Spa this year, even though they do race here in F2, correct?
Yes.
Because this is where the tragedy of Pierre's friend happened, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's super dangerous around Spa. Wet weather, I want to avoid all rookies. So that's why I would lean Williams or Aston Martin. And if I had to choose between both of them, I'm going to say Aston Martin has a better weekend than Williams, because we're going to see wet weather Stroll out. It's going to be a little bit of an equalizer. And then I'm going to take my chances with one of the most experienced drivers on the grid in the wet weather.
Wet weather Stroll is always a very interesting animal when he gets let out of the cage, to see if he really does have the pace, because he is something of legend, they say.
I mean, he went up from 18th to 6th last week in Silverstone.
Mm-hmm.
So like he does perform really well in the wets. Any thoughts on Racing Bulls? Because they did they have a good weekend in Silverstone?
They did not.
No, they double DNF, didn't they?
Pretty sure. It's been a while.
Antonelli
I'm pretty sure they did.
Antonelli hit Hajar. And then
Lawson had a kerfuffle with somebody.
Lawson, Shawal. Yeah, Lawson had a DNF as well. So double DNF. How do you think that they do around Spa, especially now that their leader, Lauren Mekes, is up at the Big Brother team?
I think it's definitely going to be an interesting adjustment for them. I mean, new head coach, always stuff changes up a little bit. But overall, I still feel like they'll be in a pretty decent shape.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that if I had to choose either of the drivers, I'm going to choose Hajar. It wasn't his fault that Kimi was right there and he just yeeted into the back of his suspension. So I think with this, they would probably red flag it before it got to that stage. So I would trust Hajar more around this track than Lawson. And then, yeah, I think they do have a better weekend than a double DNF, which won't be hard to do if they come home 20th, 19th. It would still be a better weekend than a double DNF. So now moving down to the last 2 teams, we have Haas with Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon, and then Alpine with Cola No Pointo and Pierre Gasly. I feel like
that one was a little bit too easy, Ben.
Well, I was listening to Matt and Tommy earlier, and he was like, I had a thing on Colo Pointo this week. And I was like, yeah, let me just borrow that and say no Pointo, because I don't think that Colapinto is going to be around much longer and much less get a point this week.
I mean, that's always a thing that's on the mind. I guess you could put that in there for Colapinto, but he just hasn't looked very good at all to help out the team. He just kind of looks like he's floundering there at that Alpine team. And I mean, Pierre is able to put in really solid weekends the whole time.
And with wet weather, he does look good in wet weather. So do you think that he's going to put in another masterclass and drive that tractor up into the points?
I mean, here's my thing. Pierre's like one of the best drivers on the grid, but I feel like he falls to his inconsistencies too often. But I do feel like we'll have a very good race on our hands.
I think so too. And anything from the Haas boys?
I mean, we'll see if they run into each other again this weekend. So
my money is on yes. Well, those are the grids, or those are the teams on the grid this week. Any thoughts before we get into our competition, Nick?
Nope.
All right, let's get into our competition next. It is currently me.
Dang, I'm getting whooped up.
No, I mean, I had a very good weekend last week. I think I scored 3 points because it was 6-5 coming into this weekend. No, how did I get that many? It was 7-8, me. And I scored 3 points. You scored 1 with Piastri. All right. You ready?
Yes.
All right, Nick. We are back with our competition segment. Just a reminder for the viewers, each week, or each race week, me and Nick will choose a driver to finish in the top 10. We will pick a teammate battle. If you do choose the second driver in the team, you will get 2 points if they finish ahead of the number 1 driver. And then we will do a podium finish and then our locks of the week. So, Nick, without further ado, I will mention up at the top that after Silverstone, it is 11-8 me. So I will give you honors and let you pick first.
Which one am I picking again?
Top 10 drivers.
My top 10 driver.
Yeah.
For this week, I'm going to throw it down to the bottom of the grid. And I am going to say that Bortoleto is able to do it for Haas and put it, or no, not for Haas, for Kick, and is able to put it in the points for Kick.
Fair enough. Bortoleto, I think, is a good pick. I do see him performing well around here. So if your prediction from earlier is correct, he will be coming home in 8th, and then Nico Hülkenberg will be this week. I'm going to go with my top 10 driver. Someone that is actually, I'm surprised that he's this far up the drivers list. And I think it was mainly because of last week. But you know what's crazy? If you were to pick Lance Stroll this week, he is technically the number 1 driver because he has 20 points to Fernando Alonso's 16. So I'm actually going to take Fernando Alonso to come home in the points this week.
Fernando Alonso. So you're going for the double points, huh?
No, this isn't a double points finish. If I chose
no, I'm saying for the times 2 points.
Yeah, I might, unless you take them, because that's a really good teammate battle pick right there.
Yeah.
So Nick, who are you taking in your teammate battle? Do you want the easy money?
No, I don't want the easy money. I am going to throw it up. When's the last time I picked the Mercedes?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I would have to look back. You did choose Kimi over George, but I will give you Kimi over George if you want to choose Kimi over
Let George. It roll on Kimi over George again. I really like Kimi this weekend. I say he beats. I say he does it. I say he does great things. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will give you those two. I'm going to actually take the easy money and give me Fernando Alonso over Lance Stroll for the teammate battle. I think out of all of the teams on the grid, they are the most underpriced out of all of the or like the ones that are most out of position for where I actually think that their car is. So they are 8th in the constructors title right now. I do think that Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll are a better pairing than Racing Bulls. I know Stroll hasn't really showed much in that car, but now that Adrian Newey has started to tweak it, he does seem more comfortable. So I do see them starting to claw their way back up the grid, especially over Racing Bulls and Kick Sauber. So finally, Nick, we're going to do a podium. Who do you have coming home on the podium this week?
So I kind of hinted it earlier, but I have Oscar Piastri winning it Max Verstappen in second. And to round it off, give me Lando Norris.
All right, so an Oscar, Max, Lando, 1, 2, 3. I think that's a very solid, a very safe bet for this weekend. I'm actually going to change it up a little bit. I think that Lando's been driving really well. He was able to take a little mental break, refresh, probably talking to some sports psychologists on the weekends. But give me Lando coming home with the win. I do like him a lot. Because you took Max in second, I'm going to throw Max down in my third spot. And then with a surprise second place, I'm going to take George Russell coming home in the place position. I was trying to think of horse analogies, and I was like, what place show? But give me George Russell in the second slot, which leaves Piastri off the podium for a second week. And I think because he is going to be off the podium, or no, he was on the podium last week, but because he's not going to win again this week, he is going to go to his cave, just be 100% focused in on F1, and then come, where are we after the summer break? We go to Hungary, and around the Hungaro ring, he is going to be ice in his veins. He's going to take a playbook or a page out of Alan Prost's playbook and come back and actually just like steal this driver's championship. Bold prediction for the rest of the year.
Bold prediction. I mean, let's see how it eats.
Let's see. And then finally, Nick, let's do a quick locks of the week. So every week we've been doing a locks based off of the over or better or worse on the picks from gridrival.com, and they are in for F1. So Nick, do you have your
use code BROS for
yeah, if you want to play and get in on the action, we do have a promo code BROS for Grid Rival, which will match up to $100 on your first deposit. We really like the game. It's fun. I play F1 Fantasy, and I like, out of all the apps, I've only played this one, but I know my league played the F1 league before this, and they like this one a lot more. So like, we're not paid to endorse them. I just really like the app, and it's a fun way to make Saturday and Sunday a bit more engaging.
Yep. My pick of the week is for Lance Stroll to finish better than 14.5.
Ooh, that's actually a really good pick. I mean, we've been saying this a lot, and he might qualify badly, but if there's any wet weather, it could give him a really good shot on Sunday. Do you have another one?
And then I really do like Carlos Sainz worse than 9.5.
Carlos worse than 9.5. Yeah, I'm looking through these, and these are all sprint quality.
I threw it to the race. I threw it over to the race section.
Yeah, I'm looking at the race section now. Race position 2 for Lando, 4.5 for George Russell. Don't love those. Could go back to my tried and true Esteban Ocon, which has worked out well for me. Oliver Behrman. That 13.5 is looking hasty. Do I think that 13 people are going to be... So if he comes in 13th, I don't win. Do I think that there's 7 people that will do worse than him? I know this is great radio right here. There's not a lot of halves. Well, since I have George Russell coming in on the podium, give me George to do better than 4.5. And then look down the grid for my second pick. Fernando Alonso at 9.5. Bortoleto better than 15. And Isaac Hajar better than 10.5. Actually, I'm going to zag on Nico Hülkenberg. This is annoying because I have so much recency bias. Do I think that Nico Hülkenberg is going to get into the points again this week?
That is really the question.
I'm going to go worse for Nico Hülkenberg. That hurt me to say.
Worse for Hulk.
Yeah, worse from Hulk. You are on... You're on that same side because Bortoleto is going to beat Hulk this week.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I just say stuff, let it eat.
No, because you know what's happened. I don't think that Nico. Now that I'm not using my emotions anymore. Nico Hülkenberg has not done well in qualifying these past like 3 weeks. Like all of his points finishes have been from like 17th, 18th, and 19th. So I don't see that as a consistent way or a consistent strategy to continue to go into the point. So now that I'm talking about it, I do like this worse than 10.5 for Nico Hülkenberg. I think that he can throw it up in 11th, 12th, but I don't think that it will be another points finish for him. So those are our locks of the week. And just again, Nick has gone with Lance Stroll doing better than 14.5, Carlos doing worse than 9.5. I'm taking George better than 4.5, and then I'm going to take worse for Nico Hülkenberg going 10.5. All right. So I think that does it for us today. Nick, any thoughts before we sit back, watch practice? It is a sprint weekend, so we got one practice session, sprint qualifying Saturday, or sprint qualifying Friday, sprint race Saturday, qualifying Saturday afternoon, race Sunday. Mm-hmm. So any final thoughts before we just sit back and enjoy F1 for a week before we're starved again?
No, I think that your tires are looking a bit bald. I think you need box.
Come into the pits. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate your support. Go like, subscribe, comment. We love doing this for you. So everything that you guys do to show support, we greatly appreciate it and helps us bring this content. See you after the race. Peace.